A millennial finally has a free evening. No meeting. No errand that absolutely has to happen today. No social plan they agreed to 3 weeks ago when they were a different person with more confidence in future energy levels. The workday is technically over. The laundry can wait. Dinner exists in some manageable form. The calendar, for once, has opened a small door. So they sit down to relax. And immediately, relaxation becomes weird. They pick up the phone, put it down, pick it up again, open an app, close it, consider watching something. Decide that choosing something will take too much energy. Scroll for a few minutes, feel worse. Remember they have books. Remember books require attention. Think about taking a bath. Think about how long the bath will take to clean up. Consider going for a walk, check the weather, lose the will to walk, and eventually end up sitting very still while feeling vaguely guilty for not relaxing correctly. This is one of the stranger parts of modern adulthood. Millennials often want rest. They talk about rest. They understand intellectually that rest is important. They know burnout is real. They know bodies need recovery. They know sleep, quiet, hobbies, sunlight, movement, and doing nothing can all be good for them. And yet, when time finally appears, they do not always know how to enter it. From the outside, this can look ridiculous. Maybe millennials forgot how to have fun. Maybe they are addicted to their phones. Maybe they overthink everything. Maybe they are so used to complaining about being busy that they do not know what to do when they are not busy. And sometimes, sure, there is some truth there. But the struggle to relax is not only a personal failure. It is not just a lack of discipline or imagination or hobbies. For many millennials, relaxation became difficult because life trained them to treat time as something that should always be used. Force 1. Free time became morally suspicious. Millennials grew up inside a culture that praised productivity in almost every form. School rewarded extra credit, advanced classes, extracurriculars, internships, leadership roles, volunteer hours, and the kind of resume building that began before anyone had a resume. Adulthood continued the lesson. Use your time well. Build skills, network, exercise, meal prep, learn something, start something, improve something, monetize something, track something, fix something, become someone. Even relaxation was often framed as useful because it helped productivity later. Rest so you can perform better, sleep so you can focus, take breaks so you can return with more energy, meditate so you can regulate, walk so you can reset. The activity might be healthy, but the logic underneath was still productivity logic. Rest was allowed, but only if it could justify itself. That changes the feeling of free time. A blank hour does not feel like a gift. It feels like a test. Should this be used for laundry? Should this be used for exercise? Should this be used to call someone back? Should this be used to plan the week? Should this be used to finally become the kind of person who stretches, reads, hydrates, cooks, budgets, journals, and goes to bed at a reasonable hour? So the person sits down to relax, but a tiny internal manager remains on duty. The body is on the couch. The supervisor is still in the room. Force 2. Technology made relaxation too available and too crowded. In theory, millennials have more entertainment access than almost anyone in history. There is always a show, a video, a podcast, a playlist, a game, a feed, a live stream, a subreddit, a group chat, a saved article, a digital book, a free trial, a comfort rewatch, or a documentary someone said would change the way you think about mushrooms, billionaires, cults, sleep, or the furniture industry. That should make relaxation easier. But abundance has a way of turning into friction. A person sits down to watch something and first has to decide what kind of person they are trying to be for the next 42 minutes. Comfort show person? New prestige drama person? Documentary person? Background sitcom person? Movie person? Short video person? Rewatch the thing they know they like? Or finally start the thing everyone said they would like 6 months ago? The choice itself becomes work. And the same device used for relaxation is also the device where everything else lives. The show is next to the email, the playlist is next to the bank app, the game is next to the news, the group chat is next to the unanswered message, the funny video is next to the comment section that somehow becomes a civic emergency. The phone offers escape, but it also keeps the door open to everything being escaped from, so rest gets contaminated. A person tries to relax, but the tool they use for relaxation is also a portal to work, comparison, errands, bills, emergencies, opinions, and people having arguments about something the person did not know they were supposed to have a position on. It is hard to unwind inside the same room where the alarm keeps going off. Force 3. Adulthood made rest feel delayed. For many millennials, rest became something that existed just beyond the next task, after the deadline, after the busy season, after the move, after the debt is lower, after the apartment is cleaner, after the job is stable, after the inbox is under control, after the laundry is done, after the body feels better, after life finally becomes a little more arranged. The problem is that adulthood keeps generating new conditions. There is always another form, another message, another decision, another subscription, another maintenance task, another family obligation, another weird adult problem involving insurance, passwords, scheduling, plumbing, or a charge on a statement that might be fraud, but might also be something purchased at 11:47 p.m. during a very specific mood. So rest becomes something that is always coming later, and when later finally arrives, the nervous system does not immediately believe it. The person has free time, but the body is still braced for the next obligation. The calendar says open, but the mind says pending. The room is quiet, but somewhere inside, a tab is still loading. That is why millennials can have time and still not feel free. Because free time is not only the absence of appointments, it is also the presence of permission, and permission is harder to feel when life has trained you to expect another demand. Force 4. Relaxation became another identity project. There is a strange pressure now to relax in the right way. Rest is no longer just sitting somewhere and recovering. It can become an aesthetic: the right blanket, the right tea, the right candle, the right morning routine, the right evening routine, the right app that teaches you how to breathe in a way that suggests you have previously been breathing without adequate branding. A person can start with the simple desire to feel better and end up researching the optimal version of rest. Should they do yoga, stretching, walking, journaling, meditation, a digital detox, a creative hobby, a cozy game, a social activity, a solo activity, a screen-free evening, a dopamine reset, a nervous system reset, a skincare routine, a sleep routine, or a quiet hobby that accidentally requires $160 worth of supplies. Relaxation becomes another lifestyle to perform. This is especially tricky for millennials because they are already fluent in self-improvement. They know how to turn feelings into frameworks and routines. They know how to identify patterns. They know how to make the list, buy the notebook, save the video, and imagine a future version of themselves who calmly does the thing. But sometimes, rest stops being restful the moment it becomes a project. The person does not need a better system for relaxing. They need a moment that is allowed to be unproductive, unattractive, undocumented, and not especially impressive. Force 5. Many millennials are tired in a way fun does not automatically fix. There is a difference between wanting leisure and having the energy to enjoy it. A person can want to see friends and still not have conversation energy. They can want to read and still not have focus. They can want to cook and still not have decision energy. They can want to go out and still feel overwhelmed by the logistics of parking, timing, cost, noise, clothes, and the possibility of needing to be charming under fluorescent lighting. So they reach for the easiest thing: the phone, the couch, the rewatch, the snack, the half-scroll, the low-effort entertainment that does not ask much at first, even if it often takes more than it gives. This is not always laziness. Sometimes the nervous system chooses the lowest barrier because everything else has a cover charge, emotionally or literally. The problem is that low effort does not always mean restorative. Scrolling can occupy time without creating rest. Rewatching can soothe without satisfying. Staying home can protect energy while also deepening loneliness. Canceling plans can feel like relief at 5 p.m. and isolation by 9 p.m. Relaxation becomes complicated because the thing that is easiest is not always the thing that restores, and the thing that restores often requires an initial effort the person does not feel able to spend. Force 6. Rest requires safety, not just time. This is probably the emotional center. People relax when some part of them believes they are safe enough to stop scanning, safe enough to stop preparing, safe enough to stop proving, safe enough to stop being reachable, safe enough to stop turning every hour into evidence that they are managing adulthood correctly. Many millennials have spent years adjusting to instability, digital interruption, financial pressure, career uncertainty, social comparison, and the low-grade sense that one missed email, one bad decision, one unexpected expense, or one delayed response could create a problem. So the body learns to stay available. Available to work, available to family, available to friends, available to news, available to worry, available to improve, available to respond. Then, when the person finally has time, the body does not instantly switch modes. It keeps listening for the next thing. It keeps checking for the next demand. It keeps asking whether this rest has been earned, whether it is safe, whether something has been forgotten, whether the calm is real, or just the brief silence before another notification. That is why telling someone to just relax often does not work. Relaxation is not a button. It is a condition the body has to trust. And this is where the honest part comes in. Sometimes the struggle to relax is made worse by habits that can be changed. The phone can be moved. The calendar can be softened. The evening can be made simpler. The hobby can be chosen badly and still enjoyed. The show can be watched without becoming a referendum on taste. The walk can be short. The rest can be imperfect. But the deeper issue is not always solved by one better routine. Because millennials are not only trying to relax after work, they are trying to relax after years of being trained to optimize, respond, compare, prepare, document, improve, explain, and stay slightly ready. So somewhere, a millennial has a free hour and does not know what to do with it. They open the streaming app and close it. They pick up the phone and put it down. They consider reading. They consider cleaning. They consider resting, but resting somehow feels like another thing they are failing to do correctly. Then maybe, eventually, they do something small. They sit outside for 6 minutes without turning it into a wellness practice. They watch an episode they have already seen without apologizing to the part of themselves that thinks they should be consuming new culture. They make a snack that is not optimized. They ignore the laundry. They let the hobby be mediocre. They allow the evening to be ordinary. And for a moment, relaxation becomes less like an achievement and more like a return. Not a perfect reset, not a brand, not a routine, not evidence of balance. Just a person, a little less defended against the day. Maybe that is what millennials are really looking for when they say they want to relax. Not just free time, not just entertainment, not another optimized version of recovery, but the feeling that time can belong to them without needing to become useful first.